Flintstones, meet the Flintstones, they're a modern family. From the town of Bedrock, they're a page right out of history. When you're with the Flintstones, have a yabba-dabba-doo time, a yabba-doo time, you'll have a gay old time. Wilma!
Okay, so I'm going to do a analyses and overview of the famous scene in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles where Neil and Dell are taking a bus from Jefferson City to St. Louis in Missouri. This is part of Neil's plan. He's trying to get to Chicago, and he had a train mishap, and so they just take the bus now with Dell to get to um, what do you call St. Louis. And I thought I'd take a look at how bus travel essentially was like captured in this moment. So in the beginning, as you can see, they're waiting on the bus. You can see Neil's annoyed, frustrated. Neil's an upper class, wealthy man. Dell is just a nomad. He's just a nomad salesman. And they're at the bus with this guy sitting next to him who, he's an older gentleman. He's chill. Doesn't he seems like a more working class fellow.
Mode, huh? To say the least. You ever traveled by bus before? Your mood's probably not going to improve much.
So if you're ever taking the bus, you deal with. If you're taking a bus, so I've taken bus travel when I was younger. My 20s, I've taken buses from all over the East Coast. I used to take buses from my college in Philadelphia, all the way down to Atlanta to visit my family. It's a long ride, and the people on the bus typically are not of the highest economic class. Typically, they're kind of just very much lower. They have much lower incomes. They don't make that much. And I've taken the bus. It's a rough trip, and you kind of don't have that much room. It's not comfortable at all. And as you can see in the scene, you see all these characters, all these people, just different races, a black woman, white people, older people, younger people. You see the child who's just he's just going crazy and wild, running up and down. It's a chaotic scene. You'd see Neil just stuck. Like Dell is totally comfortable on a bus. He has no problem with it. He's carving down food, and Neil is just like so like they're literally side by side. It's so uncomfortable for him. But Dell is unbothered. Neil is bothered. You see people being crass and gross and just not getting a room.
It's a movie on a plane, huh? Why didn't you take a picture of last longer?
See, you don't get privacy.
You got busted. Oh, that was good. I guess this is probably as good a time as any to tell you this. Our tickets are only good to St. Louis. St. Louis was shot down tighter than Tom Thumb's ass. Look, it's Thanksgiving.
And people are smoking. There's just no courtesy for other passengers. Nobody cares. These people, they have no problem just getting all like they should do this in a room, but they're doing it right then and there in front of all these people because they didn't care. When you ride these buses often with Greyhound, Megabus, or whatever, there's people are indifferent toward you. They'll take off their shoes. They'll just lay back. They'll snore. It's a very tight knit experience. And here's a cool fact about this. So at the time, In the 1982, there was the Bus Deregulatory Act, which essentially deregulated buses and allowed them to do whatever they wanted with routes, lines, how it allowed more buses to operate and offers more routes, which is why even this route even exists at the time is because Reagan has signed a bill that allowed buses to offer new routes from rural areas to cities like St. Louis. So this whole thing, this whole experiment was a consequence of deregulation. And the act was called the Bus Deregulation Act of 1982.
Sing a tune. Who's got a song?
One thing I find so weird about this scene is like people singing in unison. If you take buses like Greyhound or Megabus, nobody sings in unison anymore because it's kind of rude or it's just weird. I guess I mean it probably may happen once in a while if people know each other or they're really feeling a song, but a lot of people just don't do that because they either have their headphones in, they're reading, watching TV on their phone or something. They're distracting themselves. They're not doing any of this. But this is before the era of smartphones and laptops, so it makes sense people have to kill time by singing.
All right, who knows a tune here? Who wants to sing a tune? Who's got a song?
I got one.
You got one. Neil Page has got one.
3 coins in a fountain, each one seeking happiness. You know this, seeking happiness. Thrown by 3 hopeful lovers. No.
Flintstones, meet the Flintstones, they're a Marconi family. From
What was so interesting is that you see the people, like right here, just turn their heads, and their response is like, "What the fuck is he singing?" Neil exposes his class status. He's singing a song that's sung probably by very rich people, upper middle class folk, right? These people don't know that song because they're from lower classes, right? They're either like thinking like this guy is they're snobby, or they're thinking like what the fuck, or just bewildered, or they're just trying to they're just giving him a stare as if he's just weird. And when they do it in unison, you feel uncomfortable and you want to stop. And Neil is trying to get people, he assumes people know the song. He's like, oh, come on, you guys know, right? You know when you sing a song that's like famous and you're like, come on, people know the song, right? But they don't. He's completely out of his element and in the wrong spot because he never takes bus travel. He never takes mass transit like this. He's a guy who goes and travels on his own. He will take planes and he'll take upper class flights, but he won't be taking rides like this.
Flintstones, meet the Flintstones, they're a Marconi family. From the town
And he's just annoyed. He's like, whatever.
Bedrock, they're a patriotic history.
The song they're singing is the Flintstones theme song, and everyone knows that song. It's a fun song, cheery, but everyone's singing in unison. They're bringing energy. They're looking straight forward, and they're jumping in together. This is totally natural, and everybody knows it because that's the song that's on TV at the time. It's mass television. People know it.
When you're with the Flintstones, have a yabba dabba do time, you'll have a gay old time.
Del fits in because he knows this song. He understands the people there. He's leading the whole charge. It's his element, it's his atmosphere, not Neil's. Del is made for this. He is a man of the people. Neil is a man of the upper middle class folk. And so what you see here is you see this bus situation intermixing of people of different economic classes, cultures, and social economic backgrounds sharing a ride for the first time. I mean, primarily just Neil and everyone else just lower class. But this is the situation of bus travel at the time in the 1980s.